Good morning, ladies. Just wanted to say hey. And today's topic up for discussion is loyalty to yourself. And yeah, I'm just getting my feet back on the ground in Washington State here after my trip to Texas. So sorry I'm a little late. Yeah, I lost my phone quite a bit this morning. I can't seem to get back on Washington State time. So anyway, but today's topic is all about loyalty to yourself. Just a reminder that self-love really is, or being your own true love really begins with you. It begins with your own, how you love yourself, how you take care of yourself, and also how you practice your life skills when you're prioritizing yourself and when you're in relationship with others. So just a reminder that true love really does begin with you. It's all about you and your journey with self-love, self-care, and life skills. And watch all the way to the end of the video. I always put a question to ponder at the end of all of my videos, so you can ponder where you're at with that in your life and how you can apply the video from today and how you can take that and explore what's going on in your life. And if you want to hear more about my Texas trip, I'll put that towards the end of this video so you can tune in for what are my thoughts on that. And yeah, without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started with today's topic, which is all about loyalty to yourself. And in a previous video, we were talking about displaced loyalty, how oftentimes we find ourselves in these unequal relationships with partners and marriages and friendships and families, and also in work situations where we've outsourced loyalty. We've been very loyal to others and more loyal to them than ourselves in these relationships. And over time, because of this displaced loyalty to others, we find ourselves in a very depleted state at the end of these relationships, or during, when we're doing discernment about what we are in relationship with. We find ourselves disconnected from ourselves and in these mismatched relationships. And we find out that we've been harmed, that what effort we were putting out is not what we're getting. And we find that there's this big disparity in what's going on. And we're left to make some hard decisions, whether we're going to stay in those relationships and have this displaced loyalty, or whether we're going to choose ourselves. And those are really difficult decisions to really move through in life, especially when you've been in a marriage for a long time, a long haul marriage, anything over 10 years, or, just a commitment of, I was talking to a friend who's been in a relationship for 1 year, and 1 year, 365 days to spend with somebody and then find out that they aren't who they say they are is difficult for anybody navigating that in life. And so today I wanted to talk about loyalty to yourself. Like, what is that? And I really see loyalty to yourself, to myself, as being a component of self-care, where I'm really choosing myself first and I'm putting myself as priority. And I don't see that as being selfish. Like, that's how we have to navigate life. And, when we're flying, we have the flight attendants, they remind us that in case of emergency and the oxygen mask come down, that we need to put the mask on first before we tend to small children or anybody else. And having loyalty to ourselves is really that same dynamic that we're told on the aircraft, that we need to practice putting our own needs and our own wants and our own desires over those of others. As women, just as in culture and in society, I don't think that's something that we're taught very often, is that we have a choice and we have a say in how we navigate this life. And I think us women, we're caregivers, and we really like to see others thrive. And a lot of times we don't put ourselves first. And, having loyalty to ourselves really helps us to strengthen our own confidence. It helps to strengthen our love for ourselves. Like we are overflowing with love, and we're filling up our own pitcher of life. We're not going around trying to top off everybody's. Like we make sure that our own pitcher, when we're filling into our own pitcher of life, that ours is full first. And from that full pitcher, we can go ahead and fill other people's glass, but ours has to maintain topped off, and ours has to be full at all times. And being loyal to yourself, is when you treat yourself as if you're valuable. We're valuable pieces of art that are to be admired, and we are valuable in ourself, and to our families, and to our work situations, and to our partners. When we're loyal to yourself, then you're also saying that you're worthy as a human, and that I matter, and that I value myself. And we also, when we value ourselves, then we take actions to ensure that others treat us as valuable. That means, speaking up. That means setting boundaries. That means saying no. That we have that right and that privilege, and we know how to do that. And that's living a life when we're loyal to ourselves, that we're going to take some really hard actions to ensure that we get treated the way that we are worthy as humans, and that we're valuable. When we are loyal to ourselves, we understand our core beliefs, like what it is that we believe about this world and our world. We get to know ourselves, like what our likes and our dislikes are. We understand our own values. And, I think over time, from when we do a lot of that in high school. I don't know about you guys, but I know for me, it's like, what do you value? Like, what are your beliefs, with your family, and what do you value? And I think sometimes as we get older, our beliefs and our values change, and our likes and our dislikes change. And, I just know that in my healing, I thought I liked the color green. And I'd always said I loved green. Really, when I checked in over myself over these last few years, that I kind of like pink. Like pink's my color now. And, I have all these great colors in this scarf. And so, yeah, I like pink now. I don't like green anymore. And maybe I like wedged heels. And that's something for comfort, but I also like that now, and I didn't like that before, like wedged heels. And so I think over time, our likes and our dislikes change, and our values change. Like, what is our definition now of like the romantic narrative? Do we still believe in the rom-com type romantic narrative where, we all know, we watch those Hallmark channels and we see all those different love stories, and these two star-crossed people fall in love. Do we still believe in that? And is that true for our life? Do we still believe in being married? Do we still believe in having shared real estate or changing your name? Like, what is your values, and what are your beliefs around that? And, when you're loyal to yourself, you choose yourself. You choose yourself over your friends, over family, over other situations. And again, you set boundaries when you're loyal to yourself. You set boundaries with new people that you meet, or longstanding friends or family, or in dating. You set those boundaries when you're loyal to yourself. And when you're loyal to yourself, you also have great compassion and love for yourself, and you forgive yourself for the mistakes that you've made or things that you're seeing differently now. And that's really one of the greatest benefits of being loyal to yourself, is just like, hey, I didn't really know what I knew back then, and now that I know, I can do things differently. And, we can move forward in a new normal for us. after divorce, after separation, after narcissistic abuse. And, when we're loyal to ourselves, we learn how to self-support ourselves in times of need. Like, we know what we need. We go into self-care mode. We give ourselves pep talks. We uplift ourselves. Like, we might have to have a pep rally before we go out and do something that we've never done before, go out on a first date, or, go try a new sport or a new hobby or something, or go meet new women. Sometimes we have to have our own little pep rally and give ourselves that uplift and affirmations, but we do it. When we're loyal to ourselves, we self-support. And when we're loyal to ourselves, we practice personal integrity. And that means living in alignment with our own core values and our own beliefs. And we walk the walk. And I think that is the hardest part about being loyal to ourselves and to myself is, you lose people. You lose people that you were in relationship with, but now that you're different and you're more aligned with who you are, that you lose people. And sometimes you're standing alone because you've made a hard decision about something. I mean, you're aligned with yourself, but that also means that this other person you're not aligned with anymore. And you say no to things that aren't aligned with who you are as a person. And just the word no is no. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to justify it. You don't have to do anything. No, I don't want to do that. And, life, although it can be hard if you haven't been in this space to practice being loyal to yourself, life actually gets easier when you're aligned with yourself. And those things that you aren't aligned with, you automatically say no with. So it's actually kind of a really cool dynamic that when you're loyal to yourself, you actually are more aligned, and it makes life that much easier. And you speak up. You speak up for those things that you don't believe in, and you have a voice, and you're willing to let your voice be heard. And you speak it. You speak it from the rooftops. And, maybe you're not going to be with a bullhorn anywhere, but you're not going to be in situations that are out of alignment with yourself. Like, you really speak up. And for me, I do take care of myself. Self-care on my journey, my life is all about self-care, from taking my meds in the morning to what time I get up, to what time I go to bed, to who I hang out with, to where I work, to what I do. And it's all about self-care. And that means that I'm very loyal to myself. And I do want you to see who I am, but I also am loyal to myself, and I take time for myself. So that also means that I turn the camera off. I shut the camera off, and I live my life to be present for myself. And, I think that sometimes there are influencers that are out there that give themselves like 100% access to who they are. And, I want to experience life, and I want to experience life without the camera, because I think sometimes when you're off and you're behind the camera trying to show people things that you're doing, which are cool, but it takes you out of that experience in life. And, I do turn the camera off, and I want to be present for myself and experience my own life too. And in so many different situations, we believe that influencers live a certain way. But is that really true? Is that really true? We've had a discussion all this week about, is that true? Is that false advertising, or are we buying the lie? And, sometimes with these influencers, do they actually really live that way when there's no camera? When the camera's off, and is that really who they are? And, in all of this, I just wanted you to know that I help you to identify your loyalty to yourself and to your life. And I help you to figure out how to say no, how to speak up, and how to be yourself, how to be completely aligned with who you are as a person, and how you go off and live your life. And that's very important to me, to help women to be powerful women, to be aligned. And I help you to see your value. And I think in this day and age with society and culture, it's we're living in some really hard times now, and one where we really do need to see our value and be aligned with our own core values and what we believe to be true about ourselves, about the world, and what's going on in this world. And I know that many of you know about the term gaslighting, and when we are aligned with who we are, we're not prone and we're not prey to gaslighting, because we can see it when it's happening. What is the media telling us, and what is these other influencers telling us? And when we're living in alignment with who we are, we see our value and we're worthy about it. And that's really a valuable, strong place to live in. And it really helps us to make it easier to choose who we're going to be around, who we believe, and what we know to be true. And so my question to you today is, are you living your life aligned with your beliefs, being true to who you say you are? And are you walking the walk of who you are as a person out with your friends, with your family, in your work situation, and in what you're doing in life? And, if it's really powerful to be walking a life aligned with your beliefs and walking the walk and talking the talk. And, I'm just asking you today, is that something that you're living your life aligned with your values? And it's very powerful. And so you get to figure out if you're aligning to that. And yeah, so that was our talk all about loyalty to yourself today. And, I just wanted to share today about my trip to Texas. And really, I'm living here in Washington State, and, I've lived here for the last 20 plus years, and I'm very thankful for someone today. I have a coaching friend, Laurence, and, it's really helpful to have somebody in your life that can speak truth to you and remind you who you are. And, this morning I was talking about this move. There's a lot of logistics and moving parts, and I'm just realizing that my life in Vancouver, Washington, it's really not in alignment with who I am and where I want to go. And yet I've lived here for 20 plus years, and I know this community, and I know, the medical providers, and I know where I live, and I know all the streets, and I know all of the places to go. And, if I pick up and move and go to Texas, there are a lot of dynamics. I don't have medical yet set up, so I'll have to have new doctors. I don't know the highways, and oh my God, they really drive fast there. The speed limit is 70. And I found myself, I'm on this trip to look, and, I just found myself a little overwhelmed with how fast the cars were going. And, I'm already trying to take in what's going on, but there was a lot going on. So seeing 70 miles an hour was like, oh my God, people are driving really fast. And then on one of the toll roads, it was 80 miles an hour. And I think it was just, there was so much newness, and then there's new rules. There's new rules of the road there. And I ended up talking with one of the guys who gave me a ride back to the airport. I'm like, hey, can I ask you a question? Like, what if you don't want to drive 70 miles an hour? That's the speed limit, but if I'm okay with 65, is it okay to drive in the furthest right lane at 65? And he's like, oh yeah, people do it all the time. And he was right. The next day I could see that people were driving a little bit slower in the right-hand lane. So I was like, okay, cool, I can do this. But, my friend Laurence today, another coach, a wonderful coach who coaches women, young athletes, and she's amazing. And she reminded me, she's like, well, you've done hard stuff before, and this is no harder. And, I needed that reset today, and it was really helpful. I left a 20-year marriage. I packed up my car and I left a 20-year marriage. and I moved out on my own. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know these people that I stayed with for a year and a half. I lived in their home for 90 days, and then I moved into their guest house. And, I did that. I was in the Marines, I did that. I didn't even know what was happening in the Marines. I just joined and off I went. And I think that, I am 56 years old and it's a little different. I'm more discernment and I'm wiser and, I have more experience. And just having those words today by my friend Laurence was, I've done hard stuff before, and it really helped me to, I'm going to do this move. And there's a lot of logistics and a lot of moving parts, but I've done things before and I can't let fear get in the way. And I can't let being scared. I'm not like big scared. I'm like little scared. And there's a little bit of fear and there's like a lot of unknown. But on the flip side, there's like another whole second book of life. And if I stay here, I know everything here. And the last 5 years, I've done some great things here, but they haven't been coming together in the new way that Denise wants to be and who she is now. And going to a new location, I can commit to 1 year. I can do this. I've done hard stuff and I can do hard stuff again. And who's to say that all of this, it's gonna work out? I met so many wonderful people. I met a woman, Clarissa, who was at the hotel, and she really shared about some of her girlfriends. And she's like, I'm your first friend here. And that was very comforting. I met that lawyer, Trish, who was there, who's been single for 5 years, and she lives up in Waco. And we exchanged business cards. And I have some friends that are moving from here. They will be in the location, but they're going to be up north. But, if something were to happen, 911, I'm sure I could call them. So that would be someone that I know. And I did the last day, I shopped in Georgetown and went to different locations, and I met 2 or 3 other people. I met this couple that moved and just picked up and moved from Michigan with their 4 children and opened up a shop here. And they just did that too. And, I talked to him about my story, the guy Russ, and, I met his wife, and they're like, hey, we could hook you up. And they gave me a business card. I have the ability to go into a gym. I'm a personal trainer. I'm a nutritional therapist. I'm a Reiki practitioner. And there's another lady who I could rent a room from to do some of my services, to meet in person with clients. And so, I have that woman. I wasn't able to meet her in person. I tried to, but there seems to be a very good network out there. And so, I've done hard things before, and I can do this hard thing again at age 56, but maybe it's really not about something that's hard. Maybe it's just the logistics that's hard, like shipping my car and packing up my apartment. I'm going to have to sell some things because I don't want to ship it all, and, curating a life. And I've done all that. And, maybe it's just my mindset, just go and do it and, commit for a year and just live wholeheartedly, live in alignment with my values, live in alignment with all my personal growth. And I have that ability to discern. I have much wisdom about different types of people. And, with all of that, I can practice being in alignment with being loyal to myself, what that looks like, and practice that. And not everything's going to be perfect. And I think I was just overwhelmed. I looked at 5 different places to live, and I couldn't even sleep the night before I left. Yesterday, I just took a nap and I was just beat, because the day before I looked at 5 different places. So I was trying to figure out the lay of the land. I was a little bit overwhelmed and my head just wouldn't shut off. And so I didn't even sleep the night before my flight. And then I had an early morning flight. I still am trying to figure out the lay of the land, but I also thought that maybe I could rent a place for Airbnb. I could do that for 30 days. At least from there, I'll be able to figure out the different parts of the area where I would want to live. And then by then I should be able to shake out whether a job comes up or whether I'm able to practice Reiki and have sessions and help people. What if a virtual coaching client comes in? With all of that, what if a few ladies come in? Like, that would be amazing. So yeah, there's a lot of shifting sands, but there's also a lot of uplift and being loyal to myself to be able to make these decisions and move forward. And, having other people, having a sisterhood of people who are like-minded, who are in the personal development space that you're at, is incredibly amazing. And so I just want to say thank you, Laurence. You really helped me out this morning with that little piece, that little nugget. And that's what's so valuable about having a sisterhood. And, we outgrow people in our life, and it's important to continue to grow and evolve and have relationships where people that can take you to the next level instead of being stuck at some place that you don't really like where you're at. Therapy is a really good thing to have. But it's also good to have a coach, to have other people that know how to get you to the next level. And that is something that I am very gifted at in the gym, is helping people with their timeline. And that is a gifting and a blessing to know how to get women to move forward in setting boundaries and saying no, and to making changes in their life that they know they need to make, but they just need to talk out loud. They need to figure out where they're in alignment with themselves. And that's something that I really enjoy. So if that's something that you would really like to talk about, and you want to go somewhere different in your life, but you're not sure how to do that, please DM me. I'm ready, willing, and able to help you out, to help you get to the next place that you want to go, to start living that life that you want to be aligned with, and to be loyal to yourself. And we get to write this second book of life. And it's amazing, to be able to figure out your own narrative about how you want to live your life. Do you even believe in the romantic narrative? Like, I don't watch Hallmark Channel anymore, and I don't read romance novels. There was a period in my marriage that I did that, because I guess I was trying to get back to that sense of what I believed. We all get to create and rewrite our story, our second book of life, and who knows what that's going to look like. But why stay scared in a space that's confining? Like, if I'm going to go and live my life to the best of my ability, I want to have a big box and be able to define what that looks like. So, I just wanted to share about my trip, share about how it feels to be loyal to myself as a person who has ended a toxic, narcissistically abusive marriage and gotten back out on my own feet, being loyal to myself, taking care of myself, learning new life skills, and learning how to love myself and to speak my truth and to set boundaries and to grow and evolve. I can help you do that too. And so I just really do believe in be your own true love. And it has been a journey for anybody who's been in this group, like Mia. You've been in this group since the beginning. There's been a lot of growth for me as a person and as a coach. And, I was talking to Laurence today, there's a whole evolution to coaching people beyond your own hurts and your own suffering. When I stepped into social media and doing YouTube channels, I wasn't prepared for some of the haters, for some of the people who you try to help and they block you, or they report you to Facebook, or you do a consultation with them, and then all of a sudden there's complete ghosting and blocking. And I wasn't prepared for any of that. But yet in the last year, I have found myself, I'm okay with that. I had my business page got shut down by Facebook because someone had reported my page to Facebook on something. And a year ago, Denise would have been like worried about all of that. And I'm like, yeah, in a couple days, my page will be back up to normal. And I know who did it. I mean, there was a lady that I was trying to help, and she was just getting really aggressive with me. And so I ended up disconnecting from her. And I told her in advance that what she was doing was not appropriate. And I did not appreciate her behavior. She was being very emotionally manipulative. And I said to her, I'm going to block you if you continue this. And she continued, and I blocked her. She went ahead and reported my page to Be Your Own True Love to Facebook. So now I'm managing all of that. And, even though you pay for ads on Facebook, you really, as a business owner, don't have a bone to pick with Facebook. Like they just want your money to go run ads. And so there's a lot of things that I've learned over the last year, and I'm being more loyal to myself to get out here, being more vulnerable and sharing about what's going on in my life and my thoughts, and having a lot more faith in God and what He's doing in my life, and just walking the walk and talking the talk. And if that's something that you want to do, get in touch. I'd be happy to help you. And so be your own true love. And you got to love yourself happily ever after. Because in the end, really, at the end of the day, that's all we have is ourself. And if we are walking in our skill set and our beliefs and our values, and we love ourselves and we're taking care of ourselves, and we have wonderful life skills for how to navigate with others, then that's really a life well lived. And so be your own true love by loving yourself happily ever after. And I look forward to carrying on the conversation next week. And I hope you have a really great day. And I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.